Hello and welcome. Today is another That Random Model episode. And first off, I wanted to start with a couple jokes. Chuck Norris counted to infinity twice. Chuck Norris can do a wheelie on a unicycle. Once a cobra bit Chuck Norris's leg. About 5 days out of excruciating pain, the cobra died. Chuck Norris can slam revolving doors. What does Chuck Norris have to do with today's model? Well, today's model is the GMC Syclone pickup. It's kind of the granddaddy of all hot rod pickups, and it's kind of the Chuck Norris of the of the world too. It's a little ungainly, a little small mutt truck, but it is tougher than nails. We start the review with the instructions, of course. And in the instructions, we've got, of course, how to assemble the engine and the interior. The bed comes apart comes in four parts. We've got the decals, which is usually a highlight of any kit, but if you look real carefully, it's the dealer license plate and a Florida license plate, along with the Syclone emblems, decal stickers for the sides and the bed, and that's about it. Don't even get decals for the instrument cluster, so you'll have to paint those specifically. And then there goes that. The GMC Syclone was based on the GMC S15 Sonoma pickup at the time. The truck was a large seller for the GMC line. It was the same as the Chevy S10. They were what was known at the time as a compact pickup, a class that's since been killed off. But in the 80s, something interesting happened. Here's the front grille. That is a Syclone specific piece. You can tell by the bumper flares. Your rubber molded tires. In the 80s, at the time, all of the GMC or the GM divisions, Chevy, Oldsmobile, Buick, Cadillac, all of these were competing, and they all had their own engines, they all had their own designers and everything else, even though they had what was called badge engineering, where you had a specific body shell, and they'd have a Pontiac version and a Chevy version and a Buick version. But they were still all competing with their own engines and with their own performance, and all trying to get attention. And so Corvette, being the performance leader at the time, was insisted by Chevy to be the performance model that no one else could beat. So for a long time, Chevy would have the nice engines, the 454s, etc., and that's basically what you relied on. Well, in 1985, 1986, Buick comes out with a I want to say it was the J body or the N body. I think it was the N body. It was the Buick Regal Coupe. They came out with a car called the Grand National, and which was a special edition car. Here is the instrument cluster while I tell the story, and the bucket seats, the side walls of the interior, as well as the interior pan itself. And the Grand National spawned what was called the GNX. The GNX, whereas most Regals had a V8, the GNX had a turbocharged V6. It was a 3.4 liter, I believe, and it was turbocharged, and it beat the Vet. It was the fastest American production car at the time of its release. And Chevy couldn't have that. So Chevy kind of helped kill off the Grand National's, the GNX's specifically, success. Here's the 4.3 liter V6 that comes in the kit, as well as the underparts for the truck. Here's your steering wheel. So during a board meeting soon after the GNX's demise, the custom chromed rims for the Syclone, as well as some other plated parts. During one of the next board meetings, GMC decided to take a S15 and put a GNX engine in it because they wanted to make a muscle truck. The GM board really liked it. They greenlit the project, but said you can't use the GNX engine, the V6. So this is the body panels right here. This is the exterior customized cladding that gives it the special effects and all on the side, as well as the truck tonneau cover and your tailgate. So on with the story. So what GMC did was they took their own 4.3 liter V6, they turbocharged it, they gave it an all-wheel drive system. For at the time, it wasn't something that was commonly done, but it wasn't something that was uncommon as well. In fact, to get the parts for the all-wheel drive system, what they did was they cannibalized the GMC Safari. The Safari, it was the same as the Astrovan, which had an all-wheel drive system on it developed for it. So they had taken those parts to make their own all-wheel drive system with the V6. It had a turbo, and they had a hit on their hands. They really did. So for the 1991 year, they unveiled the Syclone to a lot of success. The only problem is that when you have a performance vehicle, when you have something that is kind of special in its own make, what you're going to find is the price goes up pretty high. So here is that engine and your ground effects kit. So what happens is that the price went up. Well, you've got a truck that normally costs in between, I think, $9,000 and $15,000 at the time. The Syclone was selling for $25,000, which was a $10,000 markup on their nice versions. So you had a lot of people that decided that wasn't exactly the truck for them. There at the time there wasn't a huge hot rod community with trucks. In the late 70s, early 80s, Dodge had what was called the Little Red Truck, or the LRT. Chevy had experimented in the mid 80s with the 454 SS on the full size body, the K series truck. But that wasn't a compact truck. That wasn't something like this. And so when you have this formula in a compact setting, selling for a small fraction of Porsches and Ferraris and Lamborghinis, something that beat a Ferrari in the first test done by Car and Driver, famously, it out-accelerated a 348 at the time, which was a entry-level Ferrari. This thing not only beat the Corvette, it beat the Ferrari. It became the fastest production pickup in the world at the time. And it gave Chevy and Corvette another black eye. And so this didn't last more than 1991. There was less than 3,000 sold worldwide in 91 and 92. It officially sold in 92. That sold 2 models in 92. But it was less than 3,000 total. How many less than 3,000? 2 less than 3,000. They couldn't even sell 3,000 pickups, and some of these sat on the dealerships for a long time because no one could justify such a high price for such a small pickup. Nowadays, you've got the Lightnings, you've got all these other types of fast trucks and electric vehicles now, and so this is something that people would love to have. In fact, this car is a very very rare sought rare. It's a rare and sought after vehicle, and so now you've got the value of these skyrocketing with other things too, especially sports cars and hypercars from super sport cars from the 80s and 90s. So again, this sold primarily in 91. It was kind of replaced the next year by the Jimmy and Blazer variant, the SUV, two-door SUV called the Typhoon. And whereas this only came in black, and you might find some that have the gray ground effects cladding, the Typhoon came in many colors. It came in like a cran apple or cranberry red, and it came with a like a Pacific blue and a teal, and I think I've seen like one in yellow. This was only in black, so you've got a lot of rarity. There are two exceptions to the black. One was a car that was auctioned off at, or that was not auctioned off. It was a like a lottery system ticket that was a giveaway for a cigarette company. It was done in red, and it had chevron decals on the sides and on the hood in white to commemorate the cigarette company at the time. There was also a special edition PPG version. It was like a tealish purple, and then it had a whole bunch of wild graphics all over it and all, and that came in that color as well. So you've got this as a rare vehicle. You've got this is as something that's odd at the time, something that wasn't really a thing. And whereas now you have all these different types of hot souped up pickups flooding the market, and everybody wants their performance version. They want their SRT version or their GTX version or whatever they're calling it. But this is your GMC Syclone pickup. It's a little bit of history. The Chuck Norris of the sport truck world, which kind of brings me down to my last Chuck Norris ism. How many Chuck Norris jokes are there? None. Nobody jokes with Chuck Norris. And this was something at the time that also you didn't joke with either. So this is the GMC Syclone. This is something that you can still find on places like eBay or maybe a reputable hobby shop. And it definitely has a lot of options out there, even though this came in only one color, or with the if you did the black and black or black on gray, two versions, you could still paint it any color you want to, or you could do like a red and cherry. You can find like what the Typhoons were. Speaking of Typhoons, you can also find resin kits that give you a Jimmy or a Blazer version, and you can take the body panels from this kit, and there might be a little bit of sanding or something that you might have to do, and make sure you glue it on right. But you can take the body effects and you can put it onto a Blazer or Jimmy and get a Typhoon. You will have to find the right decals for that, but you definitely do have options to customize this. You can also make it a mini truck. Oh, the cigarette company giveaway truck actually had a Targa roof too. It was done by American Sunroof Company, and it had Boyd Coddington special rims on it. You can research that. I can put the information down in the comments below. Speaking of comments, tell me what your favorite hot truck is. Tell me what you would do with this kit or another one like it. This is a 125th scale. Lindbergh has a 120th scale, so it's a little bit bigger, but it's still not a truck that most people see, especially nowadays. If you find them nowadays, they're going to want quite a bit of money for them. Another fun fact I found out while doing some research on this is that someone actually back in the mid 2000s, they had what was called a cash for clunkers, or cash for junk cars initiative that was helping people to get out of their current used car situation into a new car. And someone had actually had traded off actually a rare and valuable, but in poor condition, I understand, GMC Syclone for a new vehicle. So, and at that time, that Cash for Clunkers program was something that they would actually completely scrap the vehicle. There was no resale on that at all. So it was a initiative that was done by the government to get the economy churning again. So a lot of interesting history with this vehicle. A lot of interesting options. It's a complete kit. You have your engine pieces, you've got your body cladding that's molded separately, you've got a lot of options, you got your bucket seats on the inside. So a lot of fun to have with this. Anyway, that's all I've got for you today. Thank you so much for tuning in and joining. For those that are on right now, thank you so much. For those that are going to be on later watching it, I'd like to say thank you to everybody. and real quick before everybody goes, I just want to let you know that I'm only 1 million subscribers away from 1 million subscribers. So thank you so much, everybody who's helping out. Just a few more, and we'll be at 1 million. Just 1 year. How great would that be? So thank you all for joining. Thank you all for coming by, and have a very, very good evening.